All right, we are live. Everybody, this is Epic Sketch Time, a place where you can view cartoonists and comic creators epically sketching live on YouTube. Usually see people like Jim Stowe and Mark Monlux. They're not here today, so we're going to have to fill in the gaps and try to speak louder than normal and speak more often than normal to kind of compensate. So my name is Pat McEwen. I do a comic called The Devil and Mr. Gandhi. You can read it at devilandgandhi.com. And at the moment, I'm joined by two other comic creators.
I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator. I do a webcomic called Rhapsodies, which you can find at wpmorse.rhapsodies.com, and that's M-O-R-S-E for all the people who spelled it M-O-R-R-I-S.
And I'm Brett Giuliano, creator of the... Is it coming through?
We can hear you.
Sorry, the thing didn't switch, so I was confused. Creator of the Dust Bunny Mafia comic strip, which is like Goodfellas meets Looney Tunes, and you can find that at comics.dustbunnymafia.com.
And Brett, you've been working on a book design for last couple times that we've been doing the Epic Sketch Time. How far along in the process are you?
I'm actually about 99% of the way done. My first proof. I actually just finished this week creating a new bonus story that is kind of a bridge between the first book and what will be book two. But everything else is done with the book. It's all laid out. I actually have that new story at a friend editor right now to take a look at it, and then if she gives it the thumbs up, I'll send it for my first proof.
Awesome. And it looks like Deanna has stopped by. Deanna, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Well, I am Deanna Brigman. I make a comic on Obscurato.com. It's a fantasy adventure, and I will be working on another page from that tonight.
Deanna, I particularly like how you credit all of your creative staff when you do like an update where you mention your colorist, your letterer. I wish more people would do that. I think that's pretty cool that you include everybody on your tweets when you update a new page.
Oh, well, thanks. I definitely try to give credit where credit is due.
And before I switch over to sketching and kind of stop talking for a bit, I do want to make one last pitch. So in the, I guess it's October, I want to say, the Baltimore Comic-Con, that's where they do the Harvey Awards for comic excellence. And if I can give, there's actually still time to vote. Submit your vote for the Harvey Awards. I think it's through August 8th or something like that. Just look, I think on Twitter it's like Harvey Awards is their handle. But basically, if you make comics, you can vote. And one person that's being nominated is a guy by the name of Mark Stokes, who does Zombie Boy comics. I'm a big fan. You guys see me tweet out and promote Mark's stuff. This was his Kickstarter book that he did called Some Kind of Horrible, and he is nominated for Best Online Comic. And like I said, if you make comics, you can still cast your vote. There's still time, and it'd be pretty awesome if you could support Mark. He's a cool guy and does really awesome work and is kind of a workhorse. He puts out comics like nonstop all the time at a very high level of excellence. So that's my final word.
Cool. Okay.
So do you guys have any plans this weekend? Personally, I was going to go see Suicide Squad.
Oh.
I've already pre-purchased my tickets before I heard about any of the reviews, so I'm still hoping it's going to be fun.
I'm very optimistic about it. I may, considering I've been looking forward to that one, I may go this weekend, though, considering I technically might be going to see Ghostbusters finally with a friend Friday. I might put it off a little bit just so as to digest one of the films. At the moment, I'm still trying to get my buffer back from my vacation. So even if I did have a productive week, I think I'll be putting in a few office hours over the weekend just to see if I can get a few more strips forward. And I, ashamed to admit, considering I've been watching all the trailers, surprised that it was coming out already. Suicide Squad, I mean.
Well, I mean, the trailer's been out. It seems like forever that there's such a big lead time that I almost forgot about it as well.
Yeah. It was sort of going as sort of something you hoped for, but hadn't. At the moment, I freely admit, based on what Warner Brothers has been cranking out for the DC properties, I remain a little skeptical. Though I thought the actress who played Harley was very impressive, and I'm not just talking about her outfit. The actress who's playing Amanda Waller impressed me very much since they sort of came on. She captured a lot of that really strictness.
Well, from what I've read of early reviews, both of those actresses are getting pretty high marks for their performance in this movie.
Yeah, and I've heard relatively good things about the performer who's doing the Joker, though I have to say I'm probably one of the naysayers about this sort of radical redesign. Though at the same time, I was saying the same thing about them choosing Heath Ledger instead of all of the actors that I had imagined playing him. So I look forward to being pleasantly surprised. Okay, that's better. Oh, oh, phew. Oh no.
What happened? You lose your file?
It just crashed on me before I just was able to save anything.
What program were you using?
This is a Manga Studio.
Well, hopefully it saved a backup for you.
We'll see.
You know, I was so frustrated the other day because I've been syncing everything to Google Drive, but what I didn't realize is if you save too often in a short amount of time, it can actually corrupt your file because it's trying to like delete the old one and replace it with your new one. So when you go back to look for it, there's nothing there.
I found that when you're on a roll, when you save regularly, it's generally will behave itself, but frequently when you're on a roll, you forget that little detail. But it's no great loss. One of the things I've been wanting to, I wasn't quite as happy with the figures that I had in the front of this.
It's 8 o'clock.
So Brett, are you writing a script as you illustrate, or just editing it, or what are you doing?
I am translating it from my thumbnails that I have in my sketchbook. There are two ways that I'll do a strip. I'll either do it kind of spur of the moment and just open Illustrator when I have an idea and just go for it. But normally I sketch everything out, rough thumbnails of what I'm going to do with the strip, where characters can be placed, that kind of stuff, and then just go into Illustrator and work off my pre-existing libraries of information, like my scenes and characters from my roughly 400 strips that I've done previously. So right now, I've already sketched out the strip that I'm working on, and I'm in the process of, translating that and writing it into Illustrator. But for this particular set of dialogue, I'm reworking it because it doesn't sound right after, going back and re-looking at it.
I guess that leads me to the question to you, Deanna, is how much back and forth do you have with your creative team? Like, this is all coming from, I mean, who do you do all the writing and all the pencil/ink work for Obscurato?
I do all of the art, so I also do the coloring. So the only things that I don't do is the editing and the letters. So actually, in the beginning stages, there's a bit of back and forth, but I have 5 chapters of this story written that I already passed through the editor and a couple of other beta readers. And then the letterer and I, Ryan Burst is his name, work back and forth. Since this is my first comic that I'm writing and drawing, I have discovered that I can be quite wordy. So I try to do the layouts and have him attempt to put bubbles in and then tell me that there's far too much. And then I cut it down, and then depending on how much I cut it down, I'll pass it through the editor again to make sure that there's no grammatical errors with it.
Or down.
But Ryan's pretty good. I usually don't have a lot of feedback on the letters.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think someday I would like to have do a collaboration and actually get someone to. I don't know if I'd trust anyone writing my characters, but at least get someone to professionally letter a script of mine or a short story. But that'll have to come later.
Well, I thought about that too. Every week I'm like, how easier would it be if I had a colorist and maybe an inker and so on and so forth.
Oh, I know that feeling. Every now and again I consider having Rhapsodies being colored all the time, but considering I know for a fact how long it takes me to do a Color Sunday strip, I would not want to add that time lag onto the dailies unless I was going deliberately flat with them. And if I wanted to have a collaborator, 2 issues. One thing I don't, as far as paying them, it's sort of like that's not an issue at a possibility at the moment, and at the same time, being a good union member, I don't want to screw anybody over, so it's sort of like the only payment you could possibly give them is shares, but at the same time, not getting that requires your property to be successful one of these years, and 2, once and if and once it is, do you really want to throw away to give up that much ownership of it if it is a success?
I think that's why I like when people do a Kickstarter. I think that's a great way to add on like a stretch goal or just a regular goal where you can say, look, if I raise this much money through the Kickstarter, I will pay someone a decent hourly or page rate to color it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the time when I would hire a letterer or something like that, is if I did a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
kind of exclusive project like that.
I haven't considered doing a Kickstarter yet, though. If several friends of mine say it makes for good marketing, whether the campaign is a success or not.
Haven't heard that part, but
Admittedly, that friend wasn't actually in the industry, so he might not have. He might have been guessing.
I think it's
I
a
mean,
way to generate a mailing list at the very least. I mean, obviously, you want to make it so that people are opting in, with their eyes open and let it, you can let them know, saying, "Look, I'm not going to bombard you with stuff," but it is, even if your campaign isn't successfully funded, you are going to have access to however many people, and perhaps brand new people that you've never met before, kind of agree to support it. You can kind of keep that relationship going. I definitely see an advantage with that.
Yeah, because I definitely want to. I've been looking into better marketing techniques. I mean, I think some of the things I'm doing seem to be working. Because, for example, I don't think I've suffered what I usually call the summer drought this year. For the most part, those numbers have been relatively stable, which makes me more than a little interested to see if I'll get a boost once the regular year starts. Which, in other words, maybe I am having a summer drought right now, but it doesn't look like one because my numbers have been picked up just enough for summer stat numbers to look as about the same as older numbers. But that's probably wishful thinking.
yeah, I never thought about the mailing list aspect of, even if you fail, you still get access to those.
Hmm. I mean, that aside, I've been told the value of a mailing list more than once.
Yeah, I actually started a mailing list in February, I think it was, and I had 3 people on it, and now I'm up to 17, which, still really low numbers, but considering that it's been like 6 months, um, and if I gain, one person every month, not that bad of a percentage. So I'm just going to keep plugging away at it.
How often do you do mailings?
I only do it once a month, um,
Because I'm
but
thinking, am I not on your mailing list? I may not be, and which leads
uh,
me to question, like, I don't know as if I see you on Twitter saying, "Hey, join my mailing list," that type of thing.
yeah, I don't believe you're on it. And you're probably right. I don't spam enough about it. Um, I send out mailings once a month, and it covers everything from where we're at in the storyline. So, because people get busy, and I try and have seasons of an actual storyline. So I try and give people kind of a summary of what's going on and how you can jump to the current strip. Um, that's also where I talk about my book, um, and all the updates, and so people will hear about it there first, and then the new merchandise I'm doing. Um, but it's really easy. I have You can go to my website, comics.deathbymafia.com/newsletter, and uh, you can sign up there. Or if you just go to my website, it's under the tab Join the Mafia.
I believe I've done it. If I did it correctly, then I am now part of the Mafia.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Brett. I hadn't thought about the newsletter aspect of it. I've just mainly been posting on Twitter and various social media to try and get people, and I never even thought about doing a newsletter. Although I may end up still not doing it because it's just like, this takes up so much time.
So yeah.
I used to, when I was living in LA, I would commute on the train. And so I had about an hour each way every day. So I would often write my newsletters, and I'd only send it out once a month, so it wouldn't take super long to actually get something down. And I use one template that I custom coded, and I just once a month, one easy newsletter, same template. I just have to write a couple paragraphs, and then everything else stays the same. So that worked for me. But
Well, I will add it to the to-do list along with making a PDF of my first chapter and getting all the art, like the advertising art for Tapastic. Gotta do banner and all of that stuff. I'm just having artist block. I have no idea what to put in a banner.
Oh, I know the feeling. I've been playing around with just needing something to make mine more visual, and also being frustrated by the format of Comic Press that allows this sort of tiny logo that doesn't allow much room for anything. And there's not much, unfortunately. While I have a darn good reason, while I like the name just fine, Rhapsodies is a word that does not really lead itself very well to just a sort of graphic logo. And so I've been trying to playing around with ideas where it's as legible. I mean, for the longest time I was experimenting with cursive writing, which just does not work.
I'll get there someday. I actually burned through my entire queue, so I'm trying to build that back up. Slightly ahead. One day I'll be a whole page ahead again.
I
Yeah, I
know
know
that.
that feeling.
Just so many things happened. that nice buffer of having 4 to 5 pages done just went away. I can't even like pinpoint the day when I just didn't even have any more.
Yeah, um, I recently moved cross country, and I had a nice buffer going. I had everything planned out until I think it was the first week of my move, and then was like, oh, I really need to get more of a buffer going so I can cover, the drive time plus any days I'll be without internet and stuff. And then as things got closer and closer, it was like, nope, there are a lot more important things to do, like actually packing and arranging, you know, everything else that I went on hiatus. And now, not quite 2 months after, I'm back to the storyline and actually posting again. But I'm like, okay, I need to build up a buffer and I need to do it fast before I run out again.
Yeah, that happened to me for the month before my July 20th. I was trying desperately to get my buffer as big as solidify it and make it as big as possible at the same time. And by solidify, for the longest time, I have this bad habit that I've been trying to break myself of for the past year. It was a little something I used to do to, and technically I do to get around writer's block, which is cranking out a whole lot of stock art and pray you think of some dialogue by the time you've put it all together. And technically that works, but at the same time it leaves you with a whole lot of unfinished strips that ultimately waste more time, and so I'm trying to get better at script writing. So, and based on that, I think I'm beginning to improve, but at the same time, I still find myself falling back into the trap every time I'm in a rush or can't think of a darn thing.
I'm just trying to be optimistic and say this is preparing me for when I have a real deadline that somebody's paying me for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was really proud of myself. I made it nearly, I made it almost 4 years without missing my own self-imposed deadlines. And then, like 2 months after that anniversary, hiatus for 2 months.
Well, I'm about to hit publish on something that I've been putting off and procrastinating about for a long time, which is my basically issue number 3 of my comic. And in order to get this out on time, I'm basically going to have to go at breakneck speed and basically not color any of the pages, just do black and white. And I may put in a splash of color here and there when I take it to print, but if I actually colored in the pages, no way would I get this comic out. I'm shooting for publishing in like October, in time before the election, because it is an election themed comic I'm doing.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, I wish you much luck.
Why, thank you. I'm hitting the publish button.
I can say that I've definitely taken a lot of shortcuts in the most recent pages, and trying not to be too sad about my quality of work.
Well, I think keeping to a schedule, you have to develop shortcuts.
Yes.
And I would not, it's easy for us as artists to like inject self-doubt and be like, oh, this doesn't look good, or that, but someone else might read it and go, oh, I love the way your style is taking this turn, you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, I find that frequently it's, and you hear them say this thing about surgeons and several other professions as well, that ego is everything. I frequently find every time I'm in good Christian modesty mode, my stuff and them all polite and self-effacing, my my stuff is crap, whereas when I'm this arrogant believes flowers shoot out of the ground I walk in and no fun to be around mode, then I'm cranking out stuff you wouldn't believe. And I probably phrased that a lot worse than I should have.
It's 8:30.
I think we're at that time of night, folks, that it's 11:30, so it's been about an hour that we've been on the air here doing some epic sketching. I'm pretty sure if I press the stop broadcast button, then we all can stay on for as long as we want. It just will stop filming and pumping out to the YouTube channel. So I think I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button. And just want to wish everybody a good night. Thanks for joining the first back to work session of Epic Sketch Time. And hopefully we'll see you next week with some of the regulars making their return appearances. Have a nice night.
You do the same.